Well, here we are in Oshkosh 2014, and here we have a Bearhawk that was covered in Oratex, and here we have Mark Goldberg of Bearhawk Aircraft. So Mark, after covering an airplane with hot fingers and a hot iron, what do you think?
I thought the Oratex went on fine. Certainly was nice not having to spray any nasty solvents, and that was very good. There were a few new tricks to learn with this new process, as to be expected, but overall I thought it was a good experience, and I'm pleased.
Well, I wish I would have the money to buy you an airplane, because I fit in it, and many airplanes I don't fit in, especially almost all LSAs I don't fit in.
Well,
but
this one is
that
much
aside,
bigger. This one is much bigger on the inside than most LSAs.
Yeah. So the learning curve, given the fact that one of our customers built his first airplane 3 years ago with Oratex and won first prize for the best scratch-built, home-built ultralight in Oshkosh, and after that nobody ever heard that it was not, let's say, a legacy product. Nobody ever heard that it was Oratex. The learning curve, what do you think? How bad was it?
Not that bad. Not that bad. It's just have to follow the directions. Getting the tapes to stick down is maybe a little bit challenging, but if you're persistent, they stick down quite nicely. And my motivation on this airplane was less to do with the solvents that are so nasty, and more to do with the fact that in LSA, every pound is so important. Saving weight is a major issue. It's hard to tell myself exactly how much weight I saved on the Bearhawk LSA with the Oratex, but it's undisputable that I saved some weight. And the empty weight of this airplane came out at 818, which leaves quite a bit of useful load. With my 30 gallons of gas full, I still have 322 pounds of useful load in this Bearhawk LSA.
I mean, the weight savings with the Oratex are a certain thing, in the sense that the Oratex weight is always the same. The weight is as it's specified in our catalog. You find our weight in our catalog, and if you find a Seconite airplane that's wrecked or needs to be recovered, whack off a piece of Seconite, like a foot square Seconite, and then weigh it, and then you have the reality, and then compare that to a piece of ours square foot. And many of our customers that recovered airplanes got to scientifically correct figure out, by weighing the stuff that came off and weighing the stuff that went on, how much weight they saved.
Well, I made a decision that as far as which Oratex product to use, that is contradictory to what I just said.
Yeah.
For some reason, because it's a new process to me, I chose the 6000 instead of the 600, because it seemed like the difference in weight between the two was not so much. And I thought using the heavier weight of the two Oratex fabrics seemed to be a good idea. Doing the numbers, they seem so close in weight that I decided the heavier weight was what I wanted to try.
With the Oratex6000 being used on an LSA, if you ever come to Alaska and go play with us in the rocks and at the glaciers, you won't have any chance of gravel damage. And even the bush flying grade Oratex6000 is still lighter than any other fabric on the market. So there are weight savings even with that. And the airplane could be covered with the 600, the ultralight and LSA garden variety fabric, but with the 600 I would not guarantee the resistance against gravel damage from bush flying and against damage from ice and snow crusts in the case of flying on skis.
Well, because all of the airplanes we manufacture are designed and used for that kind of flying, that's probably a good idea then, that my customers use the 6000 Oratex instead of the lighter fabric, even though it's an LSA. I have one customer in New Zealand who has never done any fabric covering before. who's putting on the Oratex6000 on his 4-place Bearhawk.
Yep.
And he seemed quite pleased with the process. It seems to be going well for him. And I suspect that as time goes by, both in the 4-place Bearhawk, the 2-place Tandem Patrol, and the Bearhawk LSA, a number of my customers will be using the process.
I mean, of course, I'm advertising the Oratex, you know, but the thing is that, you know, with the Oratex, I think that the usual drawbacks of a fabric airplane can be completely taken away and converted into all advantages. And what I like so much about the Bearhawk LSA is that, you know, other than weight and legality, it doesn't have any of the LSA typical drawbacks. I mean, it doesn't appear like an LSA, it appears like a real airplane. It doesn't have any of the LSA, I mean, it's solid and practical and big enough and stout enough and strong enough, and it's a real airplane, and it would be perfect in Alaska.
Well, you know, the PA-18 Super Cubs that are so common up in Alaska that everybody seems to have at least one of is a 26-inch wide cockpit. This is a 31-inch cockpit, and you're not a small guy, Lars.
That's nice.
Even if you're a small guy, it's nice to have a little bit of elbow room when you fly.
Yeah, with the normal Super Cub, I get cramped up after an hour. I have to land after an hour, and thankfully I can land after an hour because, you know, there is gravel bars and whatnot. But in this, I could fly all day without being tired. In a Super Cub, I have to get out and walk around.
Flight qualities are very good also of this Bearhawk LSA. Very responsive ailerons, very quick compared to the Pipers, to the old Pipers. And what we like about the airplane is that you build one of these and you have a brand new airplane. It's not like a 1940s or 50s airplane that has been balled up and repaired countless times. You buy one of these, build one of these, and you have a brand new airplane that's going to be there for your grandchildren.
The short field handling of it is as good as it gets, but the cruise speed of it, say something about the cruise speed of it. I mean, they are fast little buggers.
Well, just talking about the short field ability, the design engineer in this airplane,
well, I guess we have to wait for this nice airplane to pass by here.
Well, the design engineer of the Bearhawk 4-place, the Bearhawk Patrol, all the planes we manufacture kits for, competed in this Valdez-Stolt competition here in Oshkosh. And with his LSA, which is very close to mine, he has a metal prop instead of the composite one I have, and his engine's slightly more powerful. He took off in under 100 feet, landed in 130 feet.
Wow, with an airplane that has no flaps.
That's right.
Wow.
And while granted that's not competitive with those guys from
yeah, but I mean, yours flies how fast? I mean, some of these airplanes that are still competing airplanes, they have a cruise speed of what, 68 knots or
60 miles an hour.
60 miles an hour, and yours flies what?
Well, at 2,400 RPM, which is about 60% power, it sees right around 100 miles an hour, and at 2,700 RPM, it flies about 118 miles an hour. That's what we saw. And I still have some fairings that I need to put on the airplane, so I have confidence that with all the
strut end fairings, yeah,
both at the top and the bottom. There's another fairing that goes on the shock struts. There's an 8-inch section of round tubing there that's pretty draggy. And how much speed we'll gain with those fairings, I don't know, but at least 2 or 3 miles an hour. So that it could take on and off so short and still have 120 mile an hour cruise speed, I believe that's really good. And exceptional in the world of these LSAs.
Yeah. And if somebody doesn't need an LSA, he could go for the Bearhawk Patrol, and then, you know, there's freedom from weight limit, and you have flaps, and you could have a constant speed prop, and I mean, all you could want you will find with that garden variety of Bearhawk.
The Patrol is a great airplane, often compared with the Super Cubs, but much crisper handling. My Patrol, I cruise about 150 miles an hour at 24 squared and still will land and take off like a Super Cub.